Welcome to another episode of GlideChat. My name is Michael Lombardo. Sitting with me is the golden boy, Josh Brostoff, AVP at GlideFast. Who gave you that name, the golden boy?
I think it was Kevin Riley. It was. Yeah, Kevin. Maybe 2017 is when I first heard it, and then it stuck. It stuck.
6 years now.
That's crazy. Yeah, just 6 years as of this month.
Golden boy is like that's in the past. Now you're just like everywhere, dude. Thank you for like making my life a little bit easier because you just everywhere. You know?
No, I appreciate that. It's been crazy to see how far we've come in the past 6 years too, and even like the space, right, and the stuff that we're doing, and all the different awards that the company has won, and we were just talking about the YouTube stuff before, and all the stuff that's out there. It's just unbelievable.
It's crazy. So. And I still feel like we don't get like the respect or the recognition that we deserve. But man, we did win Partner of the Year 2 years in a row.
Oh yeah.
Global Elite Partner of the Year. Customer Workflows, your pod.
Oh yeah.
Customer Workflows Partner of the Year. So we did get, it's hard to say we don't get any recognition. We definitely do. And every once in a while it pops into my head of like when you walked into that office, we're sitting on boxes. Like,
oh yeah. I mean, it was just,
you're like, what am I doing?
And I mean, at that point, ServiceNow has obviously been going gangbusters for a long time, but it was always funny people talking about, I think ServiceNow is kind of scaled and maybe it's going to plateau a little bit. Yeah. But I think both of us were kind of like, you know what? This space is so early on. And I think it's hard to see it if you work in the tool every day and you're like, what
more can it do?
Like, it's kind of hard to visualize it outside because you don't get, it's hard to see what the technology is really doing. But when you're in there and you're like, this is just so easy to use.
I know.
I can do things 10 times faster than other people are doing it. And I was like, this is the beginning of, a complete takeover in the space.
I remember when you and your brother had a bake-off.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
He's a full stack developer.
Yeah.
And I remember like, I want you to take an example and visualize this. I want you to set up a new web server, right? That's like a guest book as an example. Yeah. And basically I want people to be able to come to your guest book, write their name in and, put a little message for you and it's going to display on the page. It was, a little coding project, right? Yeah. It was something that I first did when I was getting involved in technology. And I remember I was like, I want you to take that example. Tell me how long you think it's going to take to do that. And then I'll do the same thing in ServiceNow. But you think about all the steps you got to go through, right? You got to set up a new web server.
Yep.
You need to write all the JavaScript or Python, whatever you're going to use for that. You need to set up
domain.
You need to set up a database. Yeah. You need to set up a database schema. You need to make sure that the site is secure so people can inject something malicious into the fields and screw the whole thing up. So if you take all the time of like, setting up the AWS server or Azure or whatever it is and installing everything that you need on it, Apache, right?
Oh God.
You're talking at least 15 to 20 hours for someone who's good,
right?
At
least.
And then you do the same thing in ServiceNow, maybe an hour and a half for a proof of concept, right? It's like,
and get
exists.
Feedback and improve it and go through a couple iterations.
You take that like little example though, and you just apply that to other stuff and you realize you're like, whoa.
Wow. Did you win him over with that?
Oh yeah. Once he started to understand, because a lot of people, like he didn't even understand that these types of things existed where you didn't have to, write everything from scratch.
True platform.
Right. If you're a full stack engineer, I think sometimes you don't even realize these things exist and you don't have to start from nowhere.
That's the struggle that ServiceNow and organizations kind of face. And we're starting to win.
Yeah.
Because like you have all these different teams that don't understand how easy it is to just do apps as a service, right? App dev as a service, app rollout as a service.
Yeah. What's interesting that he started saying to me, though, he's like, well, one of the good things about building things from scratch, what he was trying to convince me, is you can do whatever you want. And I was like, what? You can do whatever you want in ServiceNow,
right? Exactly.
And he was like, well, you're so boxed into this world of, whatever, IT service management or HR. And I was like, no, with App Engine and all the different things that are out there, you can expand.
We can keep it
to whatever you want.
We can keep it our own app that people don't even know it communicates with the rest of it if we wanted. And then the benefit, obviously, on being on one place, then I can leverage all these other things too. I can leverage user table, locations, CMDB. I can leverage data, and then the more processes we're putting in here, the more we don't need to integrate anymore. It's just it's already integrated.
Exactly. And I think though it is interesting. I know over the course of the past 5 years, right? Even since, 2018, the amount of things that have just been added on and we always, and I think all of us, we always talk about it. Everyone's looking for new ideas, stuff that we could build that'd be a value add to customers. But it's like, what is going to be the next big thing in ServiceNow? Like, what, and I feel like there's so many different things that I work with customers all the time in CSM or whatever it may be. And there's just certain things that they ask for. And obviously ServiceNow has ideas coming in from every customer, every which way, right? But something that I've talked about with a few people that I feel like would be super cool to see is some of the stuff that I see Shopify doing. And I'm like, ServiceNow is so well positioned to start to get into some of that stuff, especially around like the billing.
I know.
Like people, like you have a service catalog, you have products, right? You have customers buying things, getting into that billing space and being able to really do like from start to finish that
True
whole process.
E-commerce.
Exactly.
ServiceNow. Yeah. I mean, Shopify is the biggest platform for e-commerce, right?
Yep.
Out there.
Yep.
ServiceNow really doesn't have that way. Because even like I'm on the board of a nonprofit and like talking to them, like there's no kind of clean way to accept payment for your donations and stuff like that, like native in ServiceNow. And that it goes into again, like it's all white space. That's why ServiceNow is not going anywhere. Shopify, e-commerce, any sort of payment exchange, like for goods. Like what about customers that want to purchase hardware, right? What if they want to open that up to their customers?
Exactly. I mean, because here's my thought, right? So when I work with customers, especially like in the retail, space or in government, there's tons of use cases that have been brought up to me around. We want people to be able to buy something in the catalog.
I know. And
they also have, they have their support system, right? But also check out. Not even think, maybe it's not even ServiceNow building it natively into the tool, but integrating with a tool like Stripe or something potentially, right? Like Stripe, having used it, it's so easy to build an integration. I would just love to see something like that where you could start to finish, you go to checkout, right? And you pay at the same time.
Yep.
So,
and like Plaid too, like, how you can just like connect your bank account.
Yep.
But there's really no like consumer purchasing. Like,
exactly.
Like, and that's where the Shopify, and I'll tell you, the Shopify space is humming.
It's unbelievable.
There was a big merger, I think, with two of the top two Shopify partners.
Yep.
They're going really,
I saw that. I saw it just the other day. I mean, there's so much demand in that space for anyone who wants to start a small business. And, I think, there's just so much opportunity there. I think, a big thing too, though, like when you look at ServiceNow, right, you have this customer support system where like you go in and you have your knowledge base and you're already able to open cases, right?
Yeah.
You're already able to do that stuff. But if you were able to really like fit the whole solution into with someone being able to check out and pay.
I know.
And then even after it though, right? I mean, I think the other thing too, which I think would be awesome to see them get into is stuff that you see, around email marketing and being able, and it already exists, right? So when you check out, like we were talking about the billing stuff, if you could send you can already send a customer an email based on certain events that happen, but then be able to do things like automatically enroll them in marketing emails, right? And start to get in. I mean, email marketing is a huge space too that I think they have the potential to get into.
It's a weird space right now too, because they're changing, with the GDPR and they're changing. They just changed in California. Companies, if they have your information, they have to alert you.
Right.
That they have it. They have to like tell you, hey, Josh, we have your name, email, phone number stored in our CRM. I'm hearing a lot of companies are like sending you that email. You don't even know you're getting it. They're intentionally putting words in that email to make it go to spam.
Right.
So technically they alerted you, but you didn't get it because it went to spam.
Yeah.
That's kind of,
I mean, and that also opens another door. It's like, do you even want to go that direction? Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's also, I think it's a pretty saturated space too, I think is what's hard to break into that.
Yeah.
But I think like one of the biggest things that we've seen that ServiceNow already has such a huge presence in this space.
And they always compare it to like, this is like Amazon. It's like,
right.
And
in some of the other stuff too. And I think, you start to see it with like telecom order management and CSM order management where there is kind of that pass through, right? But you could also just build it in so it's all there. So there is just, there's little pieces within the process that ServiceNow participates in, which but it's going to be interesting to see what
Let's pick our top 3 spaces ServiceNow is not playing in. I have a couple.
All right.
So e-commerce, definitely.
Yep.
ERP and like payroll, truly like one-stop shop for all employee needs. I think that's right. That's not.
Yep.
There's no sort of payroll or like Workday, PeopleSoft, true like ERP system.
Yep. CRM.
Yep. So Salesforce. Truly going after, because I think there's this like a Wall Street aspect. Right. Where ServiceNow is like, we're not a CRM. We're not competing with Salesforce. I mean, we built our CRM. I love our
sales. It works perfect. And it integrates with everything too.
And it's, and it just like kind of makes sense eventually for them to just, that's like a lever. I feel like that they're just waiting to, once they start to really start to see the sailing, I think then they'll
go on. For me, I like all 3 of those. For me, I got to go. Top one is really like end to end around the billing piece of it, customer checkout, more of like kind of, there's already service portal, right? But starting to really build an experience for an end user to come in and buy something. I think for me, that's number 1. Number 2, I would love to see deeper on email marketing. I know that's such a huge space, but all the tools they already have around workflows and doing, basic if-else conditions. You already have people's contact records or consumer records. You already have, and seeing the customer journey. And then the last is, the CRM is just, CRM I got to join you on that one.
And then the other thing is market segment.
Yep.
I mean, they're not doing anything for SMB.
Right.
I mean, Salesforce has 150,000 customers, I'm pretty sure. What does ServiceNow have, like 10,000?
I think it's like 7,000 range for, But I mean, there's
SMB.
It's not a space that they're in yet.
They tried that ServiceNow Express. That didn't work.
Right. I would love to see that, though. I mean, especially running. Can you imagine running a small business on ServiceNow? It's the dream.
Look what it did for us.
Right.
Our business, I swear to God, like that day we spent money we didn't have to buy ServiceNow.
Yeah. All those tools that we had.
It was brutal.
The expense reports in Excel.
I think we had 40 employees or something. And,
that was a game changer.
And we just said, like, what are we doing? Why? This is what we do for other customers. We started hiring like crazy. And I just remember one day sitting there, just like talking to you and Pip or whatever. And just like, we just scaled up 100 people and seemingly like painless. And we're like running our business, like building this business, onboarding people, making offers. Like we wouldn't have been able to do it without that platform. I swear to God.
And I mean, there's no real solution. I think a lot of companies try and be like, we can do everything, but it doesn't really exist. No. Like I think ServiceNow is one of the only tools where it's like you can legit run a company on it. And I mean, people don't believe it. I'm like, no, like they're like, what? True. Like, what do you use? And I'm like,
I know.
We literally use ServiceNow for everything.
We use another system for invoicing, and that's so that's another opportunity. Is like that the true a payroll. Part of the payroll is accounting.
And they're getting into that. I saw in Vancouver, there's some stuff that's starting to come out around that. So
the future's bright, man. And I'll tell you, like, back to your point about like people thinking, time's up. I remember when I first got in it, it wasn't even public yet. The company was still private. And I remember being like, am I too late? Some of the other community members knew all this stuff. I didn't know it yet. And I was like, man, is it like, am I too, and it like, imagine.
My biggest thing is, for all the people who think that it's too late to get in, I can guarantee you that it's the very beginning. And for anyone who's, Wall Street analysts saying, ServiceNow has kind of expanded, that they're done growing. I'm telling you, I think you're in for a rude awakening.
You know why? Because the technology's real.
It is 100%.
Like, I just think ServiceNow scales, and I don't know if Salesforce scales as easily.
Yeah. And I mean, I think there's just been the common sentiment that I've started to hear is our Salesforce implementation is so custom, it's so hard to use. And I think ServiceNow has gone the complete opposite, where it's so easy to use for a lot of people now.
It's just built.
It's
built real.
Yeah.
I think it's built.
I think that's the biggest Biggest difference.
It's just
100%.
Rapid app development and just I don't know. And it's fun as hell too. How fun is it doing something a customer asks and then you show it back to them like, wow, they get so excited.
Especially when it's something too, like what I've always said about that is the things that are the easiest, they're the most impressed by.
I know.
And sometimes the things that are the hardest, they're like,
it
doesn't seem like
that long. Yeah, I know.
But the thing is, it really doesn't come up that often though, because most stuff, like, once you really get a good grasp on where things are and how to navigate your way around, everything is really not, super difficult.
How about that feeling of like accomplishing something in the platform that like
unbelievable.
You didn't think you could do, or like,
and
you're just like, let's go.
I mean, I've had projects like that. I saw one, man. I had a project once where it was a completely custom app. It was, decades of development, right? It was just so custom. And, we took this project and we actually made it using like a dashboard. It had all kinds of integrations into other stuff though. Yeah. But you just, just looking back on it, it's just this huge beast. They gave us these diagrams. There's, 30 arrows going every which way. But then when you get to the finish line and you're right, and it's just how simplified it is, you're like, there's no better feeling to be like, this is just such a better solution, building such a better tool. It's so much more scalable. And you're like, let's go. Right at the end, it's no better feeling.
Such a crazy feeling. Like, that's what's cool about being a developer. I mean, it's just like almost performing magic. You're making something out of nothing.
It's, that's what I love about it. Every day you get to build something. Yeah. You get to deliver just value that, most companies have never seen in such a short period of time. And it's fun to do it. I mean, that's the biggest thing is it's like, I enjoy getting up for work every day and working on the tool. I've been doing it for 8 years and there's a lot of people like, you know what? Maybe it's time to try something different. I'm like, I can't imagine. I can't imagine what else I would do.
I feel bad for our competitors. Because like when the acquisition happened, I think they were like, oh, good. Like Lombardo and the GlideFast is going to fall. Yeah. Like, no way. I'm never retired.
Oh, yeah. We got a group of people who are so passionate about it at this point. You can't match that. Yeah.
It's too much fun. Yeah. And we're so good at what we do. Like, if you're Tom Brady, why do you think you never want to retire? He's still winning championships.
It's true. We've got an unbelievable group of people.
The people, and like, we're making a positive impact in their lives and other people's lives. Like, it's just like all around. And the ServiceNow space is dominating too. So it's like, we're in the winning league. We're the winning team in the winning league.
It can't get any better.
It can't get any better.
Yeah.
And we're really helping customers. Like,
that's the biggest thing. Yeah. There's no other job that you can really get where you truly get to make like and actually see a difference.
Yeah. Gratification.
Week to week, month to month of just you're continuously helping and making changes.
I need that dopamine now. I can't slow burn of we're gonna build this app for the next 10 years and hopefully that's why I'd struggle at a product company.
It's just so different. I just don't think you get that same type of connection, right? It's like, you actually build relationships with people. Yeah. You get to feel like you're actually part of something and see the value that it provides. And I think it's hard, like in product, you may not always get that, right? We're kind of in a unique position where you really get to see that day to day.
One thing, we always like to leave our audience with some advice. What's some advice for people who maybe want to get into leadership? And what is leadership to you? What is leadership?
I think leadership, the biggest thing is really helping other people grow. I think that's the biggest thing, right? Of being, and I think before I didn't really understand this, but taking other people and giving them the tools they need to be successful. And if someone has an idea, right? Someone says, hey, I want to go try this. It's like, go ahead. I want you to do it. Right. Yeah. I think allowing other people to be innovative, and really, taking everyone else and elevating them to the next level is the biggest part about being a leader. And I think that's what everyone here does, right? Yeah. You got that team culture and, just allowing people to run with ideas, be innovative and do what they want to do. And, some might work and some might not, but at the end of the day, right? That's what it's all about. Exactly.
Fail fast. And like you heard me on the team call, it's like, it's about completing things too. Like, hey, take this on. Yeah. But like, let's make sure, let's complete it. And if it doesn't work, that's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
What I really like here too is I don't see that like toxic kind of leadership where it's like,
yeah,
don't outshine me, you know, like stay in your lane. It's more like, no, like I want people around us that are, you know, winning, you know, like if we're encouraging people to lose, and what are we going to do?
And it's not, and I think the biggest difference too,
it's not a competition.
You have some type of leadership where you're giving demands, right? To do things, and they just want it because they want to elevate themselves, right? I think that's what you see in leadership at some organizations. But ultimately, I feel like we're at a place where we truly, like, you know, maybe sometimes, you know, I assign someone a difficult task.
Yeah.
I'm only doing that because I want them to truly be better.
Yep.
And it's because I want them to grow in what they're doing.
And it's not something that you're not willing to do yourself.
Right.
Like that's the other. I think that's why you have so much respect from your team. It's because they see you grind and they see you in there, and it's like same thing with me. Like I'd never want to be that guy that's like, oh, see, Mike's at the beach and we're working. Like, I'm not going to do that. I can't.
I would never ask. In best example, I asked people to get certifications. I had to do that too, right? I got all my certs. You got your certs. We've all been through it, right?
I can't lose mine, or I'm never getting them back.
But hey, it's part of it. It's part of it.
Thanks for all you do. Happy 6 years.
Yes, thank you.
According to LinkedIn.
Coming up. Technically next month, but it's coming.
Yeah. Let's go.
All right, thank you.